Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I got these cylinder heads off. Y'all seen on that other series where I took the heads off that Big Block 460 1969 motor. I was really impressed with everything that was in that motor. That, you know, it's got forged pistons in it. I don't know about the camshaft. I'm sure it has a little bit of a camshaft to it too. Back in that day, why these motors made so much more power. But before I tore these heads apart, I was going to show you the difference I'm seeing between the two cylinder heads. There's not only, this head is a 1986 head, come off one of these trucks right here in front of me, like a bullnose truck. This is where Ford got slapped with the emissions in the early 80s. Maybe I think in the late 70s they started coming out with emissions. The government did. So, you know, of course they had to get away from this head that made a lot more power. Originally I was thinking, you know, back in the day, you know, this is a closed chamber head, this is an open chamber head. But there's a lot more difference now that I looked at these heads. There's definitely a lot more difference between the two cylinder heads. I know why this head's a much better head. I got a local guy who's done a lot of port work for me over the years. Not so much anymore, just more of this kind of stuff. You know, if I was to send them to have these heads ported, these heads would do really well. Problem is, you can all out port this head and it'd probably flow around 330 on the intake. I don't know, 185, 200 on the exhaust. And the problem is you can buy an aluminum head CNC today that can just outflow these heads, you know, way beyond it, you know, for, I don't know, $3 grand, $3,500. But it's not an OEM head. I try to keep everything Ford. It's important to me to keep everything Ford. I'd like to go the cheaper route. By the time you do all these up, you know, you're gonna have a lot of money in them. But I was just gonna do a little bit of port matching. Port match the intake, port match the exhaust to the gasket, open them up a little bit, just clean up around the valves, and then do, like I said, do a valve job on these heads and surface them and slap them back on. I would love to have that short block that I took these heads off of and go ahead and put it in the truck, but I just don't have time right now. But that'll be another deal. I'll end up just going ahead and freshening up a short block, get it all ready, and then I'll end up just swapping the motor out. I got nothing but time, so on my spare time, my weekends or whatever, that's what I'll do. I don't mind doing that because I need to get the other truck, just get it up and running. I got a lot of other work to do to that truck anyway, stuff I want to do to it, just to make it kind of truck I like to drive. So anyways, I'm gonna get into this real quick, show you the difference between these two heads, what I'm seeing. One of the biggest differences I'm seeing right now, which I already knew, I knew that this closed chamber head was a 75cc head back in the day. And this head being here, and this is a 1986 head because I just pulled it off that truck, and I'm sure these are the factory heads because that's the factory motor in that truck. This is a 95cc head. I don't know if you guys can see, let me see if I can pull the camera up here to it. Bear with me just a minute here. So the difference is, from what I'm really seeing, is if you can see how deep this chamber is. So this chamber is much deeper, but that's where they get to the 95cc chamber. I do see that they got the small spark plugs in these as opposed to this one over here. This is the 1969 head. It's got the big spark plugs in it. Not sure why, but this, you see how much more shallower this chamber is? You can also see how it falls off the face right here inside, you know, around the intake. It's much more shallower as opposed to how deep it is right here. So again, this is gonna be your bigger CC head. It's gonna be less compression. This is gonna be your least amount of CC head, which is 75cc, is gonna be more compression. I didn't mic the valves. I don't know what the difference between the two valves are. They might have this, I think these heads had like a 208, maybe a 208 176 exhaust valve. This exhaust valve does look a little bit bigger than this one. I didn't mic them, but anyways, I did want to point out that, I mean, that's the chamber, but what I also did notice is, I'll show you the difference here. So on the intake ports, you can actually see where they kind of rolled this down. This head's factory, nobody's worked on it, but you can see where they kind of rolled that down to open this intake port up. And that, you know, that's from the factory. So, you know, I'm thinking I'm gonna just port match those guys, but there is no port matching this guy. This guy is exactly to the gasket from back in 1969. I don't know if you guys can see that, but man, this thing is exactly what this Felpro gasket is. It's literally, there is no opening that guy up. Like, unless you're gonna open up the gasket. I do know there's a big difference in here too, is if you feel inside here on the intake port, especially on the exhaust port. So the intake, the floor of this intake port is much more radiused and looks like it flows better, as opposed to this one's way more aggressive. See how this intake port comes up and dumps over? But now if you look at the gasket difference, huge difference in gasket. So this guy would definitely have to be port matched. So if you can see right there, look at the difference in that. That's like 1/4 of an inch. I mean, it's literally, let me see here, get it up to the bottom of that floor. It's like 1/4 of an inch. That's crazy, man. Like in 1969, they had these bad boys already done up. And then of course, when all the pollution sets in, you know, Ford had to detune these things. So that's really what happened is, you know, they got smaller valves in them. The intake runner's not near as good. They're not opened up. They had to, I guess they had to, you know, go from whatever, 385 horsepower all the way down to 225. But again, the exhausts are kind of the same way. Now the exhausts are pretty close. This one here, I put an exhaust gasket on it. There's nothing to port on the exhaust if you want to, unless you're going to open up the gasket. This head is the same as the exhaust port gasket I got on it. But in this one here is just a little bit. In fact, you can see just a little bit around there. You could open up this exhaust just a little bit on this head. This is a 1986, probably make it better. But one of the biggest differences is the floor. So this floor comes in and it dumps over. So it's actually shrouding that valve a lot for exhaust flow. So when that exhaust has to come out of there, it's got this big floor it's got to jump over to get out of this thing. Where I'm thinking it's because of how recessed the 95cc combustion chamber is. So they had to do something with this floor, where this floor here is really smooth. There's like hardly no floor to get it. You know, the radius on this floor is like nothing compared to this head over here. So I would say the exhaust numbers on this head, if you just put them on a flow bench, this head will flow way better exhaust numbers than this head would right here, which if you're running nitrous is really good. The exhaust numbers is what you really want for running nitrous. Like this head right here will be a way better nitrous head than this head. Now, being it's got a closed chamber head, it won't be as friendly. This head will be a lot more nitrous friendly, but you got guys today that are really good. They can soften the chambers up. They can make this cylinder head very, very nitrous friendly. But yeah, man, you know, this head, the C9 head, it comes with, it's studded from the factory. Looks like it's got some nice valve springs on it. I mean, they're just kind of all factory, but you know, the stock stuff, not so much. But that's it, man. I'm just gonna show you guys that and kind of show you the difference in these two heads. This head's a 1986 head right here. This is off one of my bullnose trucks. This head's a 1969 right here. And that's why this cylinder head makes so much more power. But I'm gonna get these things cleaned up and get them right tight. And I'm gonna get those guys on my truck. I think they're gonna do good. I really do. I think that they're gonna bump the compression up on that motor. I got a camshaft going in it. It's got like, I don't know, 496 lifts, something like that. Can't remember. Put a comp camshaft in it. But it's got like a 496 lift. I'm gonna, I don't know if I'm gonna put that Edelbrock Performer intake on it or I'm gonna put the Wien intake. The Wien intake definitely a lot taller, but it's still a dual plane. I'm gonna keep it a dual plane intake. I'm not gonna put a single plane on there because I really want the bottom end torque. I mean, you're not gonna twist these things 7,000. You know, you're gonna twist them 5,000 RPMs at best. Right now, they probably stock, they only want them twisted 3,800, 4,000, but I'm just looking to try and make 400 horsepower, man. I think it's very achievable. I think the heads are gonna make a huge difference. No point in fully porting those heads. I don't know how many CFMs you can pick up on them, maybe 30, 40 CFM, something like that, but I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of money on them, man. I'm just gonna clean them up and try and keep it low budget, put them back on. Anything I put on is gonna be better. Now, if I had those flat top pistons over in that motor, it would make a big difference. Now, I don't know that you can run 87 octane fuel with those cylinder heads and that flat top piston. I would probably believe that you couldn't. I believe they'd try and ping and detonate. You probably would have to run like a 91 or a 93 octane with that thing because the compression would be so much higher in that cylinder. I believe that compression is probably gonna be 180, 190 PSI in that thing as opposed to probably 150 over in the other one. So I don't know, we'll see, man. I'm just gonna play with it, but more than likely, I'm probably gonna put a good set of heads on that flat top piston. We're gonna find out. I'm gonna play with these things, put them together and stick them in one of these old trucks, take it to the racetrack. Justin's getting a dyno, so I'm gonna get hubs made for one of my old trucks, and I'm gonna put these jokers on the dyno. I'm hoping the dyno one bone stock and see what it makes. then Dyno one with some upgrades, and then Dyno one that's more upgrades, and just kind of see what they do. I'm gonna, I just got the camshaft I put in that old truck over there. I just got one off Jegs off Edelbrock, but I'm probably gonna reach out. I mean, I know Nolan over at Lanati Cams. I mean, he probably would know better grind than me. I raced with him in Street Outlaws. He'll probably, whenever me and my son ran Street Outlaws, he'll probably know a little bit better than me. I mean, there might be a better camshaft than me just getting one off the internet. I'm also going to reach out to probably my buddy Jeff Reed. I've raced with him for a long time. I know he's with TCI Converters, but I think he's got something to do with some camshaft stuff too, maybe some comp cams or stuff like that. I don't know. I'm going to find out. But they'll probably know a little bit better than I will. That way, I just needed to get something, get this other truck going. Not saying I'll stay with it, but it doesn't matter. If it's an improvement, I'll be happy with it. I'm not saying I'll stay with that. I may change it a little bit later, but old case knife. Guy's got to have that, old guy. But yeah, man, I'm just gonna get these valves out of this thing, probably just clean them up just a little bit, get them up machine shop. I got a local machine shop, Bullfrog Performance, Jeremiah, Johnny Fernandez up there. I'm gonna get them to do a valve job on these heads real quick and slap some springs on these things. And I don't think there's a whole lot I'm gonna do to the intake exhaust. I might clean them up just a little bit, but yeah, man, I think I'm just gonna put these guys on there and we'll see what they do. That's all I got, man. Till then, be good. Peace out.